Hey everybody, Josh the RV Nerd here at Haylett RV of Coldwater, Michigan with your monthly-ish industry update. It's going to be a bit of a case of good news, bad news. The thing I want to make clear about the video today is this is sometimes hard stuff to hear. And understand it's the kind of information that could very likely work against the benefit of our dealership and our people here. And the reason that we're putting this out is not to hurt anybody, is not to hurt any dealership, not any manufacturer, not any customer, but just to educate you. There's a lot of things happening behind the scenes here, things that are not very clear, not even really to a lot of local dealership levels, let alone to a customer. And it's the kind of stuff that if I were a customer, it's the kind of stuff I would want to know about so that I really knew what I was getting into when I decided to make the choice to purchase an RV. So like I said, it's going to be a mix of good news and bad news. And I've got, I think, a couple very, I don't know if I can make a full announcement at the end of this, but a couple little interesting things to run past you. Maybe as a little bit of a teaser to some future announcements. So let's get started. And in case you hadn't noticed, yeah, it's starting to get chilly around here in the Midwest. You can see the colors of the leaves turning in the background here. Funny note on that is, I think at this point, I'm like almost like a month and a half backlogged on getting new RV video tours out. So chances are we're going to have snow on the ground and you're still going to see me wearing shorts in a bunch of videos that are coming out. And then by the time spring rolls around, I'll still be stomping around in the snow. But neither here nor there, just like you're going to watch this and be like, am I in a time warp? What is going on here? Anyway. Quick overview of what we're going to talk about today. Inventory volumes, some hard pricing updates, and some more in-depth information on some specific things that are causing both pricing shortages, challenges through the industry, whether it's from the supply side, the manufacturing side, getting things out to the consumer public. So first of all, let's talk inventory. For most of the year doing these updates, this is basically what it looked like here. Just a big old barren landscape without a whole lot of campers. But dealer inventories, not just here, but like system-wide across the nation, are finally beginning to really discernibly recover, as you're seeing here in the background. Like, this isn't a whole bunch of service stuff that we just parked up front. We actually have stuff on the ground, which I'm super excited about because frankly, and for the most part, we have not love the idea that we kind of had to ask our customers to order out of a catalog. Like, I don't buy a pair of pants without trying them on first, and they sure don't cost what a camper costs. I think it's perfectly reasonable that the customer would want to see something before they, spend their hard-earned money on anything, and that's what I'm excited to see. Customers get to actually get back on the grounds, put their hands in, bring your families, try out the bunks, try them on for size, like a pair of pants. This is awesome to see, and it will only continue to get better. And that is good news for everybody for a number of reasons. Not just the fact that you actually get to put your hand on something and, get to see it before you commit to it, but the fact that any unit, the sooner a unit lands at a dealership's grounds, whether it's here or anywhere else, the sooner it becomes completely shielded and insulated from everything else that I'm about to talk about in this video. So let's do this. I'm just gonna rip the Band-Aid off. Let's get to the big one that everyone's waiting to hear about. Let's talk about pricing. 2 months ago, I almost did backflips because for the first time all year, we saw nearly, and in many cases, no price increase. And I was like, are we finally doing it, guys? Are we finally seeing that change in the wind? And no, we most definitely were not. This last month, October, we saw the single biggest wave of price increases I've seen all year. It was pretty brutal in some cases. We saw increases anywhere from 3 to as much as 10% per trailer. Now, it's kind of interesting the way this all boiled down, because we saw the smallest percentages on the biggest, highest dollarist units, math. And interestingly though, it meant that despite the fact they were the smallest percentages, because they're on the biggest, already more expensive units, that translated into larger price increases. They were actually the highest in terms of dollar value increases. So the big question then becomes, what keeps causing this? And I've got a bunch of very different, very specific examples for you. Like, one of the major ones right now is glue. The type of glue that is used in the lamination of RVs, like that smooth skin one behind us back there. There's, like anything, there's good, better, best grades of glue out there. And there are a couple brands like Rockwood, like the new Ember RVs that we gave you the sneak peek of. They use a little higher grade of glue. It has a little higher bonding content. It stands up far better to things like water exposure and water penetration. Doesn't tend to break down as easily. That is not what most manufacturers tend to use, which is fine as long as you take care of your. The logic being, well, you make sure you take care of your seals and stuff. You don't let water in the RV, and then it doesn't matter. I could understand that logic potentially, but the problem is there's so much being built so quickly, and there's remember when like the polar vortex took out a bunch of like chemical plants in Texas? We're still not recovered from that. And when Hurricane Ida rolled through, some of the other plants that had kind of picked up the slack had to shut down, and it takes them like a month to get back up to full production. So we've gone through first a roadblock and then some massive speed bumps as we're working to get back up to speed in terms of supplier related things through the industry. So what that means is a lot of manufacturers have said, okay, well, we're gonna have to start buying that better glue. We can't stop building, but the trick is there's not enough of the better glue to go around to everybody. So those who are able to get the better glue, well, naturally they had to pay more for it, so that's translating into some of the pricing shift. This is interesting, one of the other really kind of spooky, you wouldn't think something like this would cause such a bottleneck in RV production, but we're running into a real situation in the industry being real short on skirt metal of all things. And I don't know about you, when I first heard skirt metal, when I hear metal, I start thinking stick and tin campers. That's the first place my mind went. And then I started going, oh no, oh wow. Because frankly, almost every RV, even these big luxury full-time or fifth wheel kind of jobs, are using skirt metal. And if you think about it, they're actually using more of it. The glue and the shirt metal. Shirt metal? Shirt metal! Yeah, I can't say it. Skirt metal shortage. Bam, first try. They are actually causing the biggest bottlenecks in the industry right now. And it has brought a lot of brands that were back up to full production down to 3 to 4 day a week production, just because, like, there was just one day a couple weeks ago. Uh-oh, I hope everybody's okay. I hate hearing that locally. It means somebody's in trouble. But, sorry, squirrel. There was a day a couple weeks ago, all the workers showed up at the factory that morning waiting to get that truckload of skirt metal, and it just didn't show. It just didn't show up, and everybody had to go home. No build, no pay. Everybody lost that day. It is very, very interesting how sometimes something seemingly so insignificant, like when you hear shortage, you're thinking, okay, what specifically are we short on? Are we missing air conditioners? Are we missing water heaters? Skirt metal has ground this whole thing to a halt. You just wouldn't have thought that, Am I wrong? I mean, it's just something you wouldn't have considered, right? Okay, so remember how I talked about how the common glue wasn't available, so everybody jumps on board the bandwagon of getting better glue. Well, there's a couple other instances of that I've seen very recently here. And one of the major ones that's also potentially causing a hiccup now is a shortage of Azdel because of the exact same thing. So it used to be Azdel was significantly enough more expensive as compared to Luan wood panels that manufacturers really tended to stay over here or over there. But as the cost of wood has skyrocketed over the last year and a half or whatever the time frame has been, the margin between the cost of wood and Azdel has really shrunk down to the tune that a lot of manufacturers have said, well, I think a lot of customers would go ahead and prefer Azdel anyway, so why don't we just start buying a bunch of that, because the Luan wall panels are getting expensive and they're hard to get a hold of. Well, again, the trick is so many people have jumped on that bandwagon that, and credit to Azdel for making an awesome product that people really like, excellent, that now Azdel's basically down on allocation, which basically means they say, okay, well, I know that you ordered, we'll say 6,000 widgets, units, whatever, bricks of Azdel, sheet pallets of it. We can get you 4,800. That's just all I can get you. I have to try to give a little bit to everybody. So that's an issue. Here's one that's going to make a lot of people's heads spin. Tires. I think largely due to the bottleneck of container ship imports, and to this day still a great majority of tires in the RV industry are imported from China. The traditional tire that most manufacturers would use is not available. So instead what's happened is suddenly everyone's saying, well, what can we get here in the good old US of America? And that would be Goodyear Endurance Radials. So even though it's costing more, manufacturers have been essentially forced to provide people with, in many cases, a better tire, just because it's the only thing they can get. The problem with that is now that everybody's jumping on that bandwagon, Goodyear said, okay, well, our price just went up a little bit. If you want them, you're gonna have to pay for them. And the problem is, who's really paying for that stuff is not the supplier, not the manufacturer, not the dealer. At the end of the day, it's always the consumer that pays for stuff. I think we all understand that, right? Like, we all understand that free is not free, right? There's no such thing as a free upgrade. Now, there could be something like a no charge feature or upgrade. But that just means that it's built into the price. And this is a very, very important thing to wrap your heads around a little bit. If something is free, say like social media, guys, that is because you are the product. You are the resource. You are the consumer good that is basically being farmed out and sold to someone else through things like advertising. Free isn't free. Keep that in mind. Now, steel so far for things like frames, I'm hearing rumors that it may start going into allocation or shortage, in which case manufacturers start jumping on a different grade or thicker grade or more expensive steel. Better, but again, more expensive. That hasn't happened yet that I've heard from my sources, but it's a maybe. At this point, it's like a 50-50 thing if that's going to happen. Now, I mentioned the phrase container ships, which is has really become, I think, for a lot of people, a very touchy subject. Like it's like in the automotive industry. The chip shortages have limited their production by 40% or something like that. But I'm still trying to learn more about that. And I apologize. I don't know if you noticed, but this last month, I just simply was not able to get to my industry update. You saw the inventory that's coming in. This is all Fresh 22 stuff. Every single one of these required one of my full RV video tours, for which I'm 45 days backlogged or something right now. I just could not get to it. I came in early to work just to start recording this today. You can actually see the sun rising above the horizon over here. So I'm still trying to learn and understand more about the container shortage thing. But it's just one of those things that I just haven't been able to get to. So I do apologize to that. If someone has some awesome specific insights, and some sources, some links that you can share, please drop a link and some information in the description down here. And not just to help me for future updates, but maybe to help other people who are watching this who might be interested in learning more about those things. And I tell you, a big concern that I have with the years of experience that I have in this industry And understand, we are in unprecedented times still, which doesn't even sound right, but every day is a new challenge, basically. My concern is, like, I've heard a lot of people say, you know, I'm going to hold off until things settle down, the pricing goes back down. I've said this before. I'm afraid it won't. And what leads me to say that is the things that I've seen previously in my career. Like, when I first started in this business, it was January 4th of 2009. And I don't know why I remember that date with such specificity, but I remember that date with such specificity. What was happening right then is, you know, fuel prices were shooting up, and manufacturers were putting in a fuel surcharge on top of every single RV delivery. And we were told, once that fuel comes back down, that'll roll right off there. That was 2009. To this day, on many manufacturers' MSRP sheets, you can still see fuel surcharge listed right on there, like 40 cents a mile or something like that. It never went away. And where you don't see it listed on their MSRP sheets, it's because it just gets lumped and rolled right into the price. Even when fuel went back down, it never went away. My fear is, let's say the manufacturers who had to switch to Goodyears or had to switch to the better glue, or take any one of the examples that I've given you here. When their traditional supply is available and a lower price becomes available, I am afraid we won't see that price slide down. I've said this also before. I think my best hope is that pricing simply plateaus for a little bit. But frankly, I think that's a little bit of a fairy tale pipe dream. The hits keep on coming. I'm sorry, this is a rough video today. I really prefer to have good news, but it doesn't, I mean, truth doesn't always have to be pretty. So I mentioned freight and like fuel surcharges. Well, guess what, Carol Baskin? Well, we have another fuel surcharge. We recently received notice from all major manufacturers that the RV delivery companies basically have increased their shipping rates about 8 to 12 cents per mile. So that you understand what that translates into. Like, one of the benefits that I've always thought we enjoyed here in southern Michigan is we are maybe an hour away from all these things are built. Where these things are built. Did I say that correctly? Oh my Lord, I'm done. Moving on. You can tell I don't edit my videos, right? So what we pay is effectively like an absolute minimum freight charge because they have to pay, you know, the driver to be able to show up, you know, to cover their fuel and insurance and things like that. So we have always largely been insulated and shielded from these things because something not everybody realizes about the towable RV industry, this is largely different motorized, by the way, but the further you are from where they're built, the more a dealership has to pay to get them there. That's, you know, why some places will have an RV delivery fee on top of their price. That's just not something we do, and maybe it's just because we're flexing our luxury of being so close, but neither here nor there. What I'm getting at is this isn't something that really affects us, but I just Googled an example, like for whatever reason the Pomona RV show popped in my head. So I just Googled distance between Middlebury, Indiana to Pomona, California. And if somebody is in that area, I'm not trying to, I don't know anybody, I don't know of any dealerships right there. I'm sure there are some in a nice population center like that, but I'm not trying to stab anybody. I'm just using this as an example. Anyway, it's about 2,097 miles or something like that. This translates to about, I'm doing quick math in my head here, about $170 to like $225 in additional freight charges on top of what I suspect is probably already somewhere in the $3,000 to $4,000 range. Like all these big fifth wheels you see over here, for the most part, almost every fifth wheel nationally is still produced in northern Indiana. Now there's some manufacturers who have like regional western production, but typically those are only reserved for their highest volume travel trailers. There's very little eastern to western fifth wheel production. Now there's certainly certain brands like say Outdoors RV out west that have that's where they're housed. And I tell you, man, they fantastic product, those guys. I wish that we were closer to them because they really do build a heck of a trailer. And, you know, for a dealer who doesn't carry it to say something like that, it's got to speak volumes. But what I'm getting at here is, you know, again, I don't think that's ever going to go away. I think it's a case where we're being told, oh, we're gonna get rid of that as soon as we can. And then 2 years later, you're like, wait a minute, weren't they going to get rid of that? And they're like, oops, wink. You know, it's not there. I could be wrong. Know that I hope I am wrong about a lot of what I've said in this video. But this is the information that I'm getting. And some of this is how I've interpreted it. But for the most part, this is what I've been advised from the different people that I know through the industry, whether it's on the supply side, the manufacturing side, and even you know, other dealerships in other areas across the nation. I've been able to form some good candid relationships with people in very different markets, basically, where we're not really direct competition, so we can be very open and clear with one another. They certainly don't want me saying their name in one of my Haylett videos, of course, but you know, and something I will ask you, please. The folks who are, like, if you are at a dealership or something like that, or you're a transporter, you know, if you make like a California, if my numbers are wrong, if my $3,000 to $4,000 estimation, because again, I live in the Midwest, I don't live in California, I don't have a great idea for what that runs. If that is wrong, please leave me a comment. Please share with everybody something more correct, because my goal, again, I am trying to just share information. I'm not trying to scare. I'm not trying to hurt. I'm trying to educate. And if I get something wrong, I want to know, and I want everybody to know that. So please help me and help everybody out. But I mentioned I had a couple potentially, I think, really exciting little teasers, because I just tried to ask again. I don't have full clearance to really dive into what I'm dying to share with you guys yet. So you're gonna have to stay tuned a little bit over the next couple months. But first of all, one awesome thing is happening in the month of November. My birthday. And see, I've begun to be able to judge my age based on the recession of my hairline. So by looking up here and looking at how thin it's getting, I do believe doing the math, carrying the 1 divided by 3.3 repeating, I'll be, turning 39 or something like that. But my daughter's 11, and my wife says, why is she more mature than you? And I'm like, why did you marry me and decide to stick with me until we died? But no, that's not what I wanted to talk about. What can I say? How can I say it? Okay. So here I think is what I can say. What if in the future we were able to start bringing you more like RV review and tour footage of other brands other than just what you've seen here for the past years? I tell you, folks, I cannot thank you enough. The response that you have put out, the new followers, the new subscribers, all the positivity that you share in the comment section with us every single day, this year has been unlike any other year. Our channel has nearly doubled in viewership and followers and everything from all the previous years combined in just one single season. And it's been a lot of work, but you guys have made it really worth it. And we really got to talking about this. It's like, so right behind me, just as an example, nothing wrong with this trailer, but this is a J-Flight 264 BH. And right there, that is a J-Flight 264 BH. And do you know how many flippin' copies of the exact same trailer I have recorded over the years? I actually wouldn't be surprised if one of our viewers knew, because you guys are incredible like that. I'll tell you this, I don't. I've recorded them so many times. It's part of the reason that I go just totally off script sometimes, because I've seen the same trailers myself so many times. And then we got to talking about it, and we said, wouldn't the viewers feel the same way? Like, it is nice that you get to see a couple little updates, but there's a lot of times I really feel like I'm just rehashing the same thing year after year. So we got to talking about it, and we're figuring some things out. But what if we started covering other stuff that we don't carry here every single day? What would you like us to see the most? And we might see what we can work up for you guys. Your response and your support for our family's dealership during a very hard time has been like unlike anything we ever could have asked out of anybody. And we wanted to try to find a way to not just say thank you, but to truly demonstrate our appreciation for that. So leave me some comments and let me know the kind of things you would like to see, like more tips and tricks videos, more camping hacks or whatever you want to call them, different brand coverage that we don't normally do here at this facility. We might see what we can work up for you. Is that the tree line, or I just need a haircut? How can somebody have this level of male pattern baldness and still suffer so many bad hair days? It doesn't make sense. It's not like I can comb it. Sorry, squirrel. Again, thank you. Let us know how we can express our gratitude. And if you appreciate the information that we brought you today, because understand, so much of what we shared could very realistically scare away our potential customers. We understand that. We want you to really know who we are, the kind of business that we do here. We're family owned and operated. I won't tell you we're perfect. We rate very highly in like our online review scores on like Google or Facebook or whatever, but we're not 5 out of 5 stars. We try. We're not perfect. We're always striving to get better. And one of those things is giving you that better information to help set that expectation properly. And if you appreciate the way that we are really diving into some ugly topics in videos like this to try to do our best to keep you in the loop, if you don't have any comments to add, at least hit the like button. And if you are new to our videos, first of all, welcome to the Haylett Nation and the RV Nerd Herd. And take a moment to click that subscribe button and catch us on the next one, even if it's just for the industry updates. Even if you don't care about the tips and the tricks or the different RV videos, we would love to see you the next time around when we put one of these out. And so until then, thank you very much. Take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.